I never thought I'd see my life collapse over a few clicks. Sophia, I call from the office, trying to keep my voice steady. Did you happen to touch my laptop yesterday? She looked up from her tea, that effortless smile I used to trust. Why would I, Ethan? You were working late again. I swallowed, forcing calm. Because some of my research papers are online, sold to someone else. Weeks before publication. Her smile didn't falter. That's impossible. Maybe it's a leak at the university? I stepped closer, my heart hammering. Impossible? Sophia, I tracked it. Every file, every draft, someone had access. Someone close. She laughed lightly, tilting her head. You sound like a spy thriller. Relax, Ethan. Maybe it's just coincidence. Coincidence. I echoed, feeling my chest tighten. My work, Sophia. Years of research. And someone I trusted, sold it for money. Don't you get it? Her eyes softened, but there was something calculating behind them. I know you're stressed. Maybe it's clouding your judgment. I wanted to believe her. I really did. But the evidence gnawed at me. Emails sent from our home network. Timestamps when only we were around. Someone close. And the idea that it could be her was unbearable. I need the truth, I said, my voice dropping, almost a whisper. Did you do this? She set her cup down. Ethan, I would never. I interrupted, my hands trembling. Then explain this. I slammed my laptop open, showing her the transaction logs. Money transferred. Copies of my papers sold. All traceable. Her calm face didn't change. I don't know how that happened. Maybe your work is just so good people can't resist. I laughed bitterly. People can't resist? Sophia, this wasn't admiration. This was theft. Betrayal. And it came from here. I pointed to my chest. From home. From someone I loved. She reached out, her hand brushing mine. Ethan, you're imagining things. You always get paranoid when deadlines hit. I pulled away. I'm not imagining. I triple-checked everything. This wasn't random. Someone sold my work. And I'm starting to realize. I paused. Voice heavy. It might have been you. Her smile widened just a fraction. Just enough to make me doubt myself again. Me? Ethan, think for a second. If I wanted to, I could have. But I didn't. You know me. I wanted to believe that. I wanted to. But every instinct in me screamed otherwise. The emails, the pattern, the timing, everything pointed to her. And yet, she made it seem impossible. That was the worst part. I trusted you, I said, feeling the words catch in my throat. I shared everything with you. My research, my life, and maybe I was stupid. She stepped closer, voice soft, almost gentle. Ethan, we've built so much together. You can't just throw it all away because of one setback. Trust me, I would never hurt you. Her words were sweet poison. I could feel the betrayal like a knife twisting inside me. My perfect life, my marriage, the career I poured my soul into shattered in moments. I sank into the chair, staring at her, searching for the woman I loved, the woman I thought I knew. But all I saw was a stranger wearing her face. And I knew, deep down, that nothing would ever be the same. I couldn't stop staring at my laptop. Emails, transaction logs, client lists, all pointing to Sophia. My hand shook, but I needed answers. Sophia, I said, voice tight. Sit down. We need to talk. She leaned back on the couch, arms crossed. About what, Ethan? Her tone was calm, almost mocking. This, I said, dragging the evidence onto the coffee table. These emails. The transfers. The client list. You used my research, sold it. She blinked slowly, then smirked. I don't know what you're talking about. This looks serious, but you're jumping to conclusions. Jumping. I laughed bitterly. Do you think I make this up? Look at this. Every transaction lines up. Every client contacted. Everything I worked for gone. Her voice softened. Ethan, I think you're overworked. You've been in that lab for weeks, barely sleeping. Maybe your mind is playing tricks. Playing tricks? I slammed my hand down. Sophia, this isn't about overwork. This is betrayal. You knew about this. You benefited. Don't lie to me. She leaned forward, eyes calm. I told you, I didn't do anything. Maybe someone else had access. Maybe you're forgetting I helped you organize your files. You helped me organize my files. I repeated slowly, teeth clenched. So, I should trust you while my life's work disappears? She shrugged. Trust is complicated, Ethan. Maybe I expected you to notice, maybe not. But don't blame me for your obsession with work. Obsession? I wanted to scream. Years of research, sleepless nights, breakthroughs, and she reduced it to obsession. You're twisting this. You always twist things. I trusted you. You do trust me, she said calm, almost hypnotic. And I never lied, not exactly. You just assumed the worst because you were too focused on your papers to see reality. I felt rage and despair at once. Reality? My reality has been stolen. Do you know what this does to me? My career, my reputation, my life? I'm sorry you feel that way, she said, voice smooth, like silk over steel. But I can't control everything. You have to accept some things happen beyond your control. I clench my fists. Beyond my control? You're sitting here, smiling while everything I worked for is gone. She leaned closer, voice soft but cutting. I never smiled, Ethan. That's all in your head. I couldn't take it alone. I needed someone on my side. I called Daniel, my closest friend, my only anchor. Ethan. Daniel's voice was calm but concerned. Daniel, it's Sophia, I said, almost choking on the words. She stole my research. I have proof. Every file, every email. I can't, my voice broke. Breathe, he said firmly. Show me the evidence. Let's go through it. I shared everything. Daniel's silence at first was terrifying. Then he said, she did this. No doubt. Ethan, I've been warning you. I told you she wasn't who you think she is. I can't believe it, I whispered. I trusted her. I loved her. And she used me. Daniel's voice softened. It's not your fault. She made her choices. You're not to blame. But you need to be careful. Don't confront her without backup. I confronted her, I said bitterly. And she's twisting every word, making it my fault. Classic move, Daniel said. Gaslighting. She's good at it, I know. But you have proof now. Use it carefully. I hung up, staring at Sophia. She was still calm, still smiling, as if nothing mattered. I realized then that the woman I loved, maybe the only person I thought I could trust, was a stranger. Worse, she was cunning, calculated, and she had used me to get exactly what she wanted. I felt trapped, powerless, humiliated. But Daniel's voice lingered in my mind. I wasn't alone. Someone was finally on my side. And for the first time since I discovered the betrayal, I felt the stirrings of something else. Anger, yes, but also determination. This wasn't over. Not by a long shot. I couldn't stop thinking about her. Every smile, every word, every touch now felt like a lie. Sophia, I muttered to myself, pacing the apartment. How could you? I ran my hands through my hair. Forgive her? I couldn't. Not after seeing those emails, those transfers. Not after feeling the betrayal crawl under my skin. But what could I do? I wasn't impulsive. Not entirely. I had to be smart. My phone buzzed. Daniel. Ethan, you sound restless. Everything okay? I can't stop thinking about her, I admitted. I keep replaying it over and over. And the worst part? I want revenge. Daniel's voice was calm, measured. Good. That means you're still alive in the fight. But slow down. You can't just storm in and accuse her. You need strategy. Patience. I know, I said, pacing faster. But I keep imagining her smug face, pretending nothing happened. How do I? I can't just sit here. Observation first, he said. Watch her. See who she trusts. Find her patterns. The more you know, the stronger your position. I sighed. You're right. I just hate feeling powerless. Good, he said. Use that hate. Don't let it control you blindly. Plan. I hung up and stared at the ceiling. My anger burned, but Daniel's words grounded me. I would plan. I would wait. And I would act. Later, at the university, I saw her, smiling at Mark Collins. She leaned close, whispered something, and he laughed. I clenched my fists. Mark? Her co-conspirator, the shadow behind her smiles. I muttered under my breath. You think I don't see you? My mind raced. Every detail mattered. Her schedule, her meetings, the people she manipulated. I had to know it all. And the more I watched, the clearer her greed became. Not subtle, not accidental. It was deliberate. But then guilt hit. I'm her husband, I whispered to myself. Vows, marriage, Does planning revenge make me a monster? I hated that question. Hated it. But Daniel had warned me. Morality was a tool. I could wield it or let it paralyze me. And right now, paralysis wasn't an option. During lunch, I ran into Rebecca Lawson. "Ethan," she said, raising an eyebrow. "You look tense. Everything okay?" "I'm fine," I lied. "Just a long week." "You always say that," she said, smirking. "Something tells me you're hiding more than work stress." I hesitated, then shrugged. "Maybe. You're sharp. I'll give you that." Her smile widened. "You don't know the half of it. But sometimes sharing helps." I studied her. Rebecca had ambition, but I sensed she had grudges too. Maybe she could be useful. An ally. Someone outside Sophia's circle who could tip the scales. "You ever deal with betrayal at close range?" I asked quietly. Her eyes flicked sharp. "More than once. It leaves marks, but it also teaches you where to strike." A shiver ran down my spine. That was what I needed. Strategy, allies, patience. Not blind rage. I left the cafeteria with a new sense of purpose. I would plan. I would gather allies. I would watch, record, wait. Sophia and Mark thought they were untouchable. But I had something they didn't. Knowledge. Evidence. And patience. That night, I sat alone, making notes. Timelines, schedules, observations. Every whispered conversation, every email, every small clue, everything mattered. I whispered to myself, I will not forgive. I will not forget. But I will be smart. They won't see it coming. And for the first time since discovering her betrayal, I felt control. Not power yet, but the first spark. Revenge was no longer just a thought. It was a plan, and I was ready to see it through. The conference hall buzzed with chatter, but I barely noticed. My mind kept drifting to Sophia, her calm, twisted smile, and the evidence I had. I almost didn't see her at first. Rebecca Lawson, standing near a panel, notes in hand, eyes sharp as daggers. "Ethan Clark," she said, voice cool. "I didn't expect to see you here." I could say the same. I replied, trying to keep my tone casual. "Are you presenting today?" "Yes," she said, "but I'm more interested in the undercurrents than the presentations." Always the politics, right? Her smirk made it clear she knew more than she let on. I leaned closer, lowering my voice. "Politics? In research? You have no idea." She raised an eyebrow. "Care to enlighten me?" I hesitated, then decided to test the waters. Let's just say someone used connections and personal ties to manipulate results and steal opportunities. Her eyes sharpened, and she tilted her head. "Go on. I'm listening." I took a deep breath. "It's complicated. A colleague I trusted betrayed me, profited from my work without acknowledgement, and I've realized it's not an isolated case. It's part of a larger network." Her lips curved into a subtle smile. "Interesting. You're not wrong. I felt the sting of someone else's gain more than once." "Are we talking about someone I know?" I weighed my words carefully. "Perhaps. I like your advice, and maybe your help. Someone with influence could shift the balance, make things right without it blowing up in public." She studied me. "Influence can be dangerous. But I see your point. You want a subtle strike rather than a loud confrontation. I can work with that if I know the target." I nodded slowly. The target is Sophia Clark, and her partner, Mark Collins. Her eyes narrowed. Sophia Clark, clever, dangerous, manipulative. And Mark? Opportunistic, always hovering in the background, hoping to benefit from someone else's labor. "You've done your homework." "I've seen them too long to ignore it," I admitted. "I need someone sharp, someone who can play the game without being obvious." "That's why I'm talking to you." Rebecca smiled, but there was a flicker of calculation. I've been wronged indirectly by Sophia before. She didn't steal from me directly, but she undermined projects that could have been mine. I never confronted her. Maybe now I can. Her words sparked a cold thrill in me. "Exactly. We can support each other. I elevate my position publicly, while you create conditions that subtly expose her. Mark will slip, and people will notice." "Dangerous," she said, crossing her arms. "If I misstep, they could ruin both of us." "Careful steps," I said firmly. "Patience, strategy, timing. You know the kind of satisfaction slow karma delivers." She chuckled. "You got a dark streak. I like that. but I also see ambition and intelligence. If we do this, it's precise, controlled. No mistakes. I felt the first real surge of hope since the betrayal. Exactly. One misstep and all collapses. But if we succeed, Sophia and Mark lose credibility, and my work is acknowledged without sabotage. Her eyes gleamed. I'll need to know your plans, your timing, every detail. We can't improvise. We manipulate subtly, plant hints, make the pattern visible only to the right people. I've already started, I admitted, observing routines, noting who they trust. Even small slips could tip the scales if used correctly. She nodded. Good. Then we begin carefully, one move at a time. I smiled, though inside a cold, determined fire burned. The betrayal had opened a door, and I was stepping through it willingly. You understand, I said quietly. This isn't just about revenge. It's about reclaiming what's mine and exposing who they really are. Rebecca's grin was faint, but sharp. Understand. Let's make them regret every smile, every lie, every stolen opportunity. I left the conference that day feeling a mix of thrill and darkness. A plan was forming, subtle but unstoppable. Sophia and Mark had no idea the storm coming for them was already in motion. I felt my hands shake as I stepped up to the podium. The conference hall was full, colleagues, professors, students, everyone I'd spent years impressing. And there she was, Sophia, smiling as if nothing mattered. Ladies and gentlemen, I began, keeping my voice steady, I have an announcement. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. I ignored them, eyes locked on Sophia. I'm engaged, I said, letting the words hang. To Rebecca Lawson. Gasps. Sophia's eyes widened, her hand tightening around her notes. I could see the betrayal, the shock, the fury. Perfect. You what? She whispered under her breath. I smiled, a tight, controlled smile. Yes, Sophia. After seeing how some people truly are, I realized I need someone I can trust. Rebecca is not only brilliant, she's principled, and she understands me. Rebecca's eyes flicked to mine. A flash of something. Conflict? Unease? Passed across her face. I ignored it. A colleague leaned toward me, whispering, Are you serious? Yes, I replied, loud enough for them to hear. Very serious. I could hear Sophia muttering, trying to compose herself. Ethan, you can't. Can't what? I said smoothly. I think I can. I finally see who's loyal and who isn't. Mark Collins hovered at the back, pretending to be neutral. I saw him glance at Sophia, then at me, calculating. I knew he'd helped her, covered for her, profited from her schemes. Perfectly positioned, exposed by my announcement. Sophia's voice rose, trembling now. You can't just... This is a joke. You're humiliating me. Not humiliating, Sophia, I said, voice calm, deadly. Merely showing the truth. People should know what they're dealing with. Whispers spread through the hall. Eyes turned to Sophia, some shocked, some curious. The atmosphere shifted. Power shifted. Rebecca leaned toward me, voice soft. Ethan, are you sure about this? It's bold, maybe too bold. I caught her glance and smiled faintly. It's strategic. Timing matters. Subtlety is out the window. They forced my hand. She nodded slowly, conflicted, but still aligned with me. For now. Sophia's face twisted with anger. How could you? After everything? I trusted you, and I trusted you. I replied, voice sharp, controlled. And you betrayed me. I only acted in return. Mark shifted uneasily. Ethan, maybe calm down. This isn't necessary. Necessary? I snapped, pointing at him. You enabled her, Mark. Helped her profit from my work. And now, your complicity is visible. He swallowed hard. I could see the realization in his eyes. Exposure, suspicion. The pieces were falling into place exactly as I intended. Sophia's voice broke. You're playing a game. I smiled again. Not a game, Sophia. Reality. The truth is out, and people will see it. I no longer have to hide my life behind lies. I stepped down, letting the silence linger. The crowd buzzed. Conversation started, questions, whispers, speculation. My career, my reputation, my revenge, everything advancing. Rebecca touched my arm lightly. Are you okay? I nodded, feeling a strange mix of triumph, fear, and regret. Triumph for the plan unfolding, fear of the personal consequences, regret for manipulating real emotions to execute it. Perfect timing, Daniel's voice rang in my mind. Watch them crumble. I looked back at Sophia. Her eyes met mine, blazing with fury, hurt, disbelief. I didn't feel joy. Not exactly. But I felt control. And for the first time since her betrayal, I knew I had the upper hand. The hall continued to murmur around us. I let them. Let Sophia stew. Let Mark sweat. Every look, every whisper, every stolen glance. Another step toward justice. And somewhere deep inside, I admitted a truth I wasn't ready to say aloud. Revenge feels good, but it feels emptier than I expected. Still, it's necessary. I watched from my office window as the calls came in. Sophia's carefully built network was collapsing. Clients were withdrawing projects, whispering doubts, questioning her credibility. And Mark, I could see him pacing behind her, glancing nervously at emails, his loyalty fraying. I whispered to myself, they don't see me watching. Perfect. My phone buzzed. Daniel. Ethan, slow down, he said the moment I picked up. Are you following her every move? I have to, I said, voice tight. They're unraveling. Mark looks nervous. Sophia looks desperate. You sound pleased, Daniel said cautiously. Don't let that pleasure blind you. Revenge can eat you alive if you let it. I know, I muttered, but it's satisfying. A little. Careful, he warned. Satisfaction fades. Obsession lasts. I ended the call and turned back to Sophia's world. She was pacing now, her voice sharp over the phone. I don't care what they say. Just secure the client. Mark, call them again. I could almost hear her panic beneath the surface. Her calm mask was cracking. Mark replied, voice hesitant, I tried, Sophia. They're asking questions, some are reconsidering. Then try harder, she snapped, slamming her laptop shut. You promised me this would work. I felt a hollow ache inside. Watching her suffer, I should have felt pure triumph. Instead, there was emptiness, a gnawing question. Was this what I wanted? Rebecca walked in quietly, her arms full of files. Ethan, you okay? You've been silent for a while. I forced a smile, just observing. Her brow furrowed. Observing her? Yes, I admitted. Sophia and Mark, their network is collapsing, and I need to see how far it goes. Rebecca's eyes softened. You make it sound cruel. Maybe it is, I said quietly. But they force my hand. And Daniel, he warns me too. Don't lose myself in revenge. She set the files down and leaned against the desk. Do you think you're losing yourself already? I hesitated. I don't know. Every move, every observation. I feel both power and emptiness. I can't tell if I'm satisfied or if I'm just hollow. Rebecca looked down, biting her lip. I get it. I've been careful around her too. Watching her manipulate situations, it changes you. I nodded slowly. Exactly. And she's plotting. I can feel it. She won't just let this go. She's thinking 3 steps ahead, trying to turn the tables. Rebecca's gaze met mine. And what about us? Are we okay? I smiled faintly, though inside I was conflicted. We're careful allies. That's enough for now. Trust is earned slowly, and we're both aware of the stakes. She leaned closer, whispering, You're brave, Ethan. But don't let this consume you. I'll try, I said, though the words felt hollow. I wanted to believe it, but every step I took, every plan I executed, felt like walking a razor's edge. Satisfaction or ruin. Sometimes it felt like the line was disappearing. Downstairs, I imagined Sophia pacing, dialing, whispering to Mark. We can't let him win. Everything we built gone? Impossible. Mark's shaky voice answered, I don't know. They're watching now. People are noticing mistakes. I closed my eyes. Good. Let them notice. Let them falter. But inside, a voice whispered, Are you any different from them? Daniel's warning echoed in my head. Don't lose yourself in revenge. But I couldn't stop. Not yet. Rebecca touched my shoulder again. Ethan, sometimes it's okay to pause. I nodded, forcing control over my thoughts. Pause, yes. But not stop. Not until the consequences are complete. And Sophia, she will have to face the results. Her eyes searched mine, conflicted but trusting for now. I felt a spark of connection, fleeting amid the chaos, but real. I whispered to myself, watching Sophia and Mark's world crumble, step by step, one slip at a time. And when they fall, we'll see who truly wins. The hollow ache remained, but so did determination. This was far from over. I didn't expect her to show up. Not here, not now, not in front of everyone. Sophia, I said, heart pounding, as she strode toward me during the seminar break. Her heels clicked against the floor like gunshots. What are you doing here? I could ask you the same thing, she said, eyes cold sharp. Standing here, flaunting your engagement, pretending to be the victim. I swallowed hard. Pretending? Sophia, I'm not pretending. You betrayed me. Sold my research. Mark helped. The evidence is clear. She laughed, low and dangerous. Evidence? You think papers and emails define the whole story? You've been blind, Ethan. Blind to everything I did, everything I tried to protect you from. I blinked. Protect me? My hands tightened. You? The one who sold my work. Yes, Ethan. I guided some of your breakthroughs. Subtly, quietly. You'd think you discovered everything alone, but you didn't. And now you think I'm just a villain? I felt my stomach drop. Wait, what are you saying? You helped me? I did. Without me, some of your genius ideas would have never left the draft stage, she said, voice steady, almost proud. But that doesn't erase what I did for myself. Yes, I sold parts. Yes, I took opportunities. But don't pretend the whole world is black and white. I stepped back, shaken. Every certainty I had crumbled. She wasn't just a betrayer. She was intelligent, cunning, layered. A woman capable of manipulation and guidance at the same time. Rebecca appeared beside me, frowning. Ethan, are you okay? I don't know, I admitted. I thought I understood everything. I thought I had the upper hand. But maybe I underestimated her. Sophia's eyes gleamed. Underestimated? You've always underestimated me. And yet you keep plotting, planning. Obsession seems more your style than revenge. I ground my teeth. Obsession? Maybe. But you forced my hand. You chose to manipulate and profit, Mark included. You left me no choice. Did I? She said softly. Or did you choose this for yourself? You wanted proof, confirmation, control. You've been playing your little chess game, Ethan, but look at you now, conflicted, doubting, shaken. I wanted to lash out, but her words hit too close. She was right. I was shaken. My careful plans, my strategies, my patient manipulation, all tangled in my own emotions. Rebecca stepped forward, voice low. Ethan, she's right in some ways. But that doesn't excuse her actions. Don't let her words distract you from what matters. I nodded slowly. I know. I didn't see this coming. Not her intellect, not her subtle influence. I thought I controlled everything. But maybe I'm not the only player here. Sophia smiled faintly. Exactly. And maybe it's time you ask yourself, are you seeking revenge, or are you trying to prove something to yourself? You've blurred the lines, Ethan. I see it in your eyes. I clench my fists. Maybe I have, but I'll adapt. I won't let this revelation stop me. I'll recalibrate, reconsider, but I won't back down. Not now. Rebecca put a hand on my arm. Careful. I trust you, but don't let this consume you. One misstep, and you could lose everything you've worked for, emotionally and professionally. I looked back at Sophia, her calm, intelligent, calculating face. She had achieved something I hadn't anticipated. She had shaken me, made me question my own judgment, forced me to see shades of gray where I only saw black and white. I swallowed, voice steady but cold. I'll consider what you said. But make no mistake, I will finish what I started. Carefully, strategically, and without losing control. Sophia nodded, a faint, enigmatic smile. We'll see, Ethan. We'll see. As she walked away, I felt a strange mix of frustration, respect, and renewed determination. The game had changed, but I wasn't out. And for the first time, I realized the battle wasn't just about revenge. It was about understanding, hers, mine, and how far I was willing to go without losing myself. I couldn't stop thinking about what happened to Mark. Ethan, are you okay? Rebecca asked, her voice gentle but cautious. I don't know. I admitted, staring out the window. Mark, he got hurt. And it's my fault. Indirectly. Everything I set in motion, everything I manipulated, led here. Rebecca shook her head slowly. You didn't cause it directly. Sophia's recklessness did this. I know, I said, voice tight. But my actions pushed them into desperate situations. I played with their lives. And now, he's paying the price. She stepped closer. Ethan, you've been consumed by revenge. Look at yourself. You're exhausted, restless. And Mark, he made his choices. You only exposed the truth. I clenched my fists. Exposed? Maybe. But at what cost? I wanted justice, satisfaction, and now it feels hollow. Wrong. Am I justified? Or am I just angry? Rebecca frowned. Justice isn't perfect. Revenge isn't either. But you've done what you had to do to protect yourself. That's not evil. I shook my head. Protect myself? Maybe. But every step, every plan, it was so calculated. I keep asking myself if I'm still me, or just someone I became to fight them. Her eyes softened. Then maybe it's time to find balance. You can still do good. You can still rebuild. I sighed, voice low. I've been helping you with your research. Honestly now, for the first time, I feel like my work can be about discovery, not manipulation. But even that is complicated. Every glance at Sophia, at Mark, reminds me of what I orchestrated. Rebecca nodded. I see the change in you. You're thinking beyond revenge now. That's growth. I looked at her, realizing how much we had gone through together. You've been my anchor through this, Rebecca. Even when I was cold, calculating, you stayed. Not just helping me execute a plan, but helping me stay human. She blushed faintly. We're in this together. But don't let the past dictate every move. Focus on what's next. I ran my hands through my hair. I want to, but I can't ignore the accident. Mark, he could have been killed. And Sophia, she's still out there, still scheming, still dangerous. Rebecca placed a hand on my arm. And that's why you need clarity. Revenge alone isn't enough. You need control over yourself first. Otherwise, you lose everything. I swallowed, heart heavy. You're right. I've been angry, plotting, watching, but anger isn't the answer. Maybe karma will take its course without my interference. Maybe some battles are meant to resolve naturally. She nodded. Exactly. You can still act, still protect what matters. But don't let it consume you. I exhaled slowly, feeling a weight lift. I understand now. Some victories are about self-improvement, not just punishment. My research, my integrity, my life, they matter too. Rebecca smiled faintly. And together, we can navigate this. Step by step. I glanced at her, a spark of gratitude and something deeper igniting inside me. Step by step, I repeated. I'll rebuild, carefully, and I'll let consequences fall where they may. Justice, karma, they'll do the rest. Rebecca squeezed my arm. Good, because you deserve to find peace, not just satisfaction. I looked out at the skyline, thinking about Mark's accident, about Sophia, about every calculated step I'd taken. For the first time in weeks, I felt something other than anger, reflection, responsibility, and the beginnings of clarity. I whispered to myself, almost a vow, I won't let revenge define me. I'll grow, I'll improve, and I'll make sure my life and my work reflect who I truly am, not just who they made me want to be. And in that quiet moment, I realized the path forward wasn't just about triumph over them. It was about reclaiming myself. I watched quietly from the corner of the conference room, the hum of chatter filling the space. Sophia stood at the podium, attempting to present her latest project, but the tension in the air was palpable. Dr. Clark, a voice interrupted sharply. We need to discuss the discrepancies in your report. Your clients are concerned. Sophia's face tightened. I'm aware and... No, you don't seem aware enough, the client snapped. We were promised original research. This doesn't match the work we commissioned. I felt a cold satisfaction, but it wasn't the rush I expected. Watching her unravel was hollow. From my seat, I whispered to myself, step by step, truth always surfaces. Mark Collins hovered behind her, shifting nervously. Sophia, maybe we can. No, Mark, she snapped, voice breaking. Not now. Just let me handle it. I could see her trying to salvage control, but it was slipping. Emails leaked, reports contradicted, former collaborators whispering doubts. Each misstep, each falter, exposed her manipulations to the world. Daniel's voice came in my head like a steady anchor. Don't let this consume you, Ethan. Observe, learn, but stay human. I exhaled, realizing how true that was. Revenge had driven me this far, but it didn't taste like victory. Watching Sophia crumble, it was justice, yes, but the bitterness of loss lingered. A former client stepped forward, voice shaking with anger. Dr. Clark, we trusted your judgment. And now we discover internal collusion, manipulation of our data. How do you respond? Sophia's lips quivered. I thought I was protecting the integrity of the research. I made decisions for efficiency. I never intended to deceive, the client interrupted. Because that's exactly what happened. I leaned back, feeling a complex mix of emotions, relief, regret, and sorrow. This wasn't the vindication I had fantasized about. Rebecca touched my arm gently. Ethan, it's over. You did what you needed to do. But you look tired. I'm tired, I admitted. Tired of planning, of scheming, of waiting. And tired of imagining what my life could have been. Rebecca nodded, understanding. It's okay to grieve. Even for someone who betrayed you. Even for the marriage that could have been. I swallowed hard. I wanted so many things with her. A family, a life, trust. And she destroyed it all. And yet, part of me mourns the potential, not just the betrayal. Daniel's voice echoed again. Grief is natural, Ethan. But don't let it turn into obsession. Learn from it. Grow. I exhaled slowly. I see that now. Revenge has limits. Karma has its own timing. And sometimes, observing the consequences quietly teaches more than acting violently ever could. Sophia's shoulders slumped, and Mark avoided her gaze. Former allies whispered, doors closed to her influence. She had lost control, publicly and personally. I wanted to feel triumph, but I felt something quieter, closure. A reporter asked her, do you have a statement for your clients and colleagues? She shook her head, voice soft and broken. I misjudged. I failed. That was enough. The room murmured with the weight of truth. I realized then that her downfall wasn't just about my revenge. It was about natural consequences catching up. Rebecca squeezed my hand. Come on, Ethan. Let's step outside. You need fresh air. I nodded, letting her guide me out. My heart felt heavy, but lighter in a strange way. Watching Sophia collapse had been necessary, but the lesson lingered. Revenge is rarely sweet, and the human cost is real. Outside, the wind hit my face. I closed my eyes, thinking of what I had lost, what I had learned, and what I still hoped to build. And for the first time in weeks, I felt a quiet clarity. Justice had happened, but life would continue. And I would continue with it. I sat in my office, Rebecca beside me, quietly reviewing the latest research drafts. The sun filtered through the blinds, casting a warm glow on the papers we had worked on together. You've changed, Ethan, she said softly, eyes scanning my notes. Not just your approach to research, but you. You're calmer, more measured. I smiled faintly. It's been a long journey. Seeing everything unravel, watching Sophia fall. It wasn't satisfying in the way I expected, but it forced me to look at myself. She nodded. You mean the obsession, the plotting, all of it? Yes, I said, leaning back. I was consumed with revenge for so long. Every thought, every decision. I justified it as justice. But in reality, it was slowly eating me. Watching Mark's accident, Sophia's collapse, I realized I couldn't let anger define my life. Rebecca reached over and placed her hand on mine. And now, you're choosing differently? I think so, I admitted. I still have justice, but I focus on creation now, not destruction. My work, my life. I want to build, not just tear down. She smiled faintly. It suits you. And for what it's worth, I trusted you even when you were cold. You didn't manipulate me. That matters. I looked at her, a mix of gratitude and warmth stirring inside me. It does. And I realized relationships, real ones, aren't about strategy. They're about respect, trust, and understanding. I've learned that the hard way. Rebecca chuckled softly. You're remarkably self-aware for someone who spent months plotting revenge. Self-awareness is born from consequences, I said quietly. I've seen what manipulation costs. Mark, Sophia, even me. And it's not worth losing myself over someone else's betrayal. She glanced out the window, thoughtful. And Sophia? I exhaled slowly. She's gone. Professionally, socially, her choices caught up with her. I don't feel triumph. I feel closure. She made her decisions. She has to live with them. Rebecca nodded. That's fair. Sometimes justice doesn't feel satisfying, but it's still justice. I smiled faintly, thinking of the woman I had once loved. Betrayal had reshaped me, but it hadn't destroyed me. I had survived, learned, transformed. You're different, Ethan, Rebecca said, softly but firmly. Not because you wanted revenge, but because you endured it and grew. I looked at her, meeting her eyes. Endured, yes. And now, maybe I can finally live without constant anger clouding my thoughts. Focus on what matters. Knowledge, integrity, and relationships that are genuine. Rebecca's hand stayed on mine. Then let's keep working together. Carefully, steadily. Build something that lasts, not just something that punishes. I nodded, feeling a strange sense of peace. Yes, step by step. That's enough. That's all I need right now. A faint memory of Sophia crossed my mind, her cold smile, her clever manipulations, but it felt distant, like a lesson from another life. I wasn't consumed by revenge anymore. I had learned, adapted, and moved forward. Rebecca leaned back, glancing at the charts we had prepared. You're calm now, Ethan. Real calm. It suits you. I chuckled softly. Calm isn't weakness. It's knowing what matters and letting go of what doesn't. Her eyes softened. Then I think this is the start of something real. Something genuine. No schemes, no revenge. I nodded, heart quiet but steady. Yes, real, honest, and cautious. Life isn't perfect, Rebecca, but it's ours to shape now. Together, or at least side by side. She smiled, squeezing my hand once more. I can live with that. I looked out the window at the city below, thinking of the journey that had brought me here, the betrayal, the revenge, the consequences. I had lost trust, love, and certainty, but I had gained clarity, resilience, and self-awareness. And for the first time, I felt like I could breathe freely, carrying the lessons, the scars, and the quiet hope for what lay ahead. Sophia's downfall was complete, my revenge concluded, but life, my life, was just beginning.